Hola. My voice is mostly back. Okay, I've been sitting here for a while contemplating on the type of video that I want to make today, and I've decided that today we're talking about the hardest life. My voice is still a little bit, it's not 100%. The hardest life lessons I've learned so far. And I really want to talk about this one because I feel like, as someone who is in their mid to late 20s now, I want to give you the best and want you to have the most knowledge, because sometimes it doesn't come so early in life. And now that I feel like I've learned these lessons, I can move forward, and I'm just continuing to learn. This year is going to be so much more learning as well. But as I move forward and as I reflect on everything, I want to talk about some of the hardest life lessons I've had to learn. And one of them that's coming to mind, because I didn't write anything down, one of them that's coming to mind is the lesson that I learned about respect. And I'm sorry if that sounds boring, but I think it was such a big lesson for me to learn, because at the end of the day, I always tell people that kindness and respect is the most important thing to me, and like no matter what, kindness and respect is what's going to get me the furthest. And I believe, because if I can't be kind to you, at the very least I can respect you. And if I feel like respect is a huge part of why we treat people the way we treat people, if I respect a customer service worker for being able to do their job well and being able to service me and work with me, that I'm going to treat them with kindness. They kind of go hand in hand. And there's definitely the part of my brain that just defaults to kindness. Like, just be kind to whomever you meet, whether you are appreciative or they're doing something for you or not. It makes logical sense to be kind to people, whether you respect them or not, but because you don't know them. But I shouldn't have to like respect what you're doing necessarily to not be kind to you. But I do think that there's a very strong part of me that was kind of neglectful of respect, and it was kind of taking me away from treating people the best that I could, because I couldn't find an ounce of respect for them. And I'm not talking about there's quite a few things, but if I genuinely don't like someone, the reason must be because I don't respect them. Either I don't respect their choices, or I don't respect how they treat other people. And with that, my kindness may waver and not be as strong. I might not be the most smiley person to you. But what I learned about respect is how I can use it as a tool to reframe and repurpose how I treat the very people in my life. I grew up with a sister who, I think my whole life I've just kind of thought was like just there. She didn't really have like a whole lot of impact. I didn't really take a lot of her opinions seriously. I didn't consider her someone who I could go to advice for. I considered her kind of someone who was just always there, was never gonna not be there, and was always my sister. And I wasn't always the nicest to her. I wasn't out of my way bullying her or anything like that, but I just didn't take her opinions seriously. And that was a problem with me. I think where things changed as I grew up into an adult, and where I was able to speak to her differently, where we were fighting like not at all, or like we basically stopped fighting, was because I had grown such a respect for her. When I realized that I'd grown such a respect for her, that's when my attitude started changing towards her opinions and her speaking and her everything. And I wasn't snappy, and I wasn't as like, there's still a long way for me to go, of course, and I've noticed this behavior about myself. But I just want, like, once I started respecting her and I started seeing her in a new light, and I'm like, where is this anger coming from? Like, where is this, like, attitude coming from suddenly with this one and only person? And it's definitely because I needed to gain respect. And I think learning to reframe some of that in your mind when you're interacting with family members, when you're interacting with bosses and stuff like that, can really change how you walk around the world and how you treat people. Like, you don't have to love your boss to respect them, and to just know that they are, obviously, if they do horrible things and are truly disrespectful to you, that's out the window. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to be like buddy friends with them in order for you to see them in a respectful light. Just the nature of the position, even if they don't do their job well, whatever the heck, you can respect that is their title, and you can respect that they're human. At the very basic level, humans deserve some form of respect, and with that comes different attitudes. Because what does respect mean to you? When you respect someone, your demeanor changes, and you want to hear from them, and you take into account what they say. And I can say the same about my parents as well. And I had to learn how to respect my parents in a new way. I thought I'd always had, but I had to learn it in a new way and see who they are as people, not just as my parents, but as people. And to not just hear their voices and think, oh, like, that's my parents, but to hear their voices and think, oh, okay, they have a different perspective or a different opinion. They've gone through different forms in life. They've gone through so much more than I have, and I need to respect that. But yes, respect was huge for me in these years. I mean, this is just for me. I'm sorry if I'm starting off really boring. The hardest lessons I've learned so far. I would say financially, this year I've learned that lesson really hard. I think that when I had money, because I didn't grow up with it, when I had money, I was very generous with it. And I felt like, because I'm blessed, you're blessed, and I just kept kind of being loose with it. And although I do think that what I was able to do, and this apartment especially, like what I was able to do with that money was super important, really great, and I was able to bless a lot of people. I unfortunately didn't learn enough about finances to invest or to do things like long term. And although I tried, it didn't pan out necessarily. And that's why I have bought a finance book, and I want to learn. I want to learn, and I want to get better because, it's me. And I want to do better for my family. I want to do better for my loved ones. And sometimes that's saying no. That's saying no to like getting everybody's, coffee. That's saying no to like concerts and things that I, used to be able to, and I do go to, what I'm saying is I'm more, I don't want to say that I'm limiting myself or that I'm more cost conscious. I mean, of course, cost conscious, of course, but there was definitely something in me that as a kid, like I never even asked for stuff because I just knew that we couldn't get it. And I didn't want to live that way as an adult. And I didn't, to be honest, for like the first 7 years when I had like a lot of money and everything. A lot of money in the sense that like I'm living for just me and the money that I make is for me. But moving into an apartment and furnishing an apartment and doing a lot of these adult things has really put things into perspective. I was like, wow, money is so fragile and it comes and goes, of course. And my abundance is around the corner, and I've already in that season of abundance again, and it's so beautiful. That's really, really exciting because being in this abundance season gives you so much calm and gives you so much like security. But also the way that I want to go about blessing my family, I want to be more strategic about, and I want to do correctly, and I want to do it in the best way that I can. So that means informing myself, learning the basics about finances and stocks and credit unions and all these things. And I want to learn so that I can be better and that I can really take the burden off of my parents. That's my dream. That's truly, truly my dream. I'm going to do it because as that season of abundance is rolling out for me and I have all these projects in mind, I need to be super careful about, just because I can do something doesn't mean I should. Just because I can cover it doesn't mean I should, And it's not about people walking over me or anything like that. It was just that I kind of enjoyed the feeling of taking care of everyone and kind of covering things for everyone, when in reality I should worry about me. And when there are emergencies, I'm there. And when I'm, doing the most that I can, but I need to be considerate of me and saying no sometimes. And saying no when it's appropriate. Like, no, I want to take care of myself. No, I want to take care of my things or just my portion. Because I wasn't like that. I really was trying to do the most. And maybe that was me showing off partially. Maybe that was me trying to do something. And I don't think it was that drastic. But I do think that I was doing too much, truthfully. And now that has come back into my life, and again, that I'm seeing this new abundance season and enjoying things again, I need to do it differently. I need to enjoy things differently, and I need to think long term, because if I want to bless my parents in the way that I do, then I need to be better. I need to learn. I need to say no. And that's hard. That's hard for me as a people pleaser and someone with anxiety. That's hard but I'm learning it and I'm getting better at it every single day. I am not saying no to blessings, and I'm just, moving forward and, doing what's best for me and my dreams. So yes, I want to invest in myself, and I want to invest in my dreams and what I have planned for myself, and that's what I did with this book. So as this abundance season is rolling out and the book is coming, and things are changing for me, like I'm moving back, back closer to family and everything. I'm doing this for me, and I am interviewing for grad school. As these things are happening for me and this abundance is happening, I need to consider myself and what's best for me. And I truly feel like that's what's been my journey the last since 2023, probably the last 2 years, just been considering myself and just seeing what's best for me. And the better that I am for myself, and as I show up for myself financially and in a lot of ways and in these secure ways, I know that that's going to be able to bless my family as well. That was a big lesson to learn, and I'm still learning it. I'm still learning about finance. I'm still learning about what's best because, we don't come from money, so there wasn't really someone guiding me necessarily. And I really respect what my parents have to say, but, sometimes I can get irritated, but I want to make the best choices, and I want to do what's best for me. So yeah, I think that was a hard lesson to learn because I definitely felt the consequences of my actions, but I don't regret helping people and serving people the way that I did. I don't regret it. And that to me is money well served or money well spent, because I was able to help others and bless others. So I can't be mad at younger me for making choices that she felt was going to help her community and help the people she loved. So although I've learned the lessons and I need to say no now, I definitely learned. So I'm still in that process. Hardest life lessons I've learned so far. I think, I don't know if this is a hard life lesson, but what I've learned about myself is that I can trust myself. In my 20s, I've really learned how strong and resilient I am, and how I'm actually a strong person. I thought that maybe if I felt a certain way or if things were going on, I would just crumble and I would make terrible decisions or something like that. I don't know why I thought that about myself, when in reality I would keep surprising myself when I would make decisions for my best interest in terms of, either love or travel or things like that, where I had to make choices and I was like, okay, scared that I would make the wrong choice, or scared that I would just become an idiot and not make the right choices and end up in a situation where I'm like, why did I do this to myself, And that was never the case. I feel like at the end of the day, there's a deep knowing inside of me, and I just know when something's right and something's wrong, or when something's just not for me. It just doesn't, and I just know, and I've always felt that way. And when it comes to people, when it comes to certain opportunities, I just know what's right, and I can only thank God for that, because I don't know where else that would possibly come from, because it is a very strong sense of knowing, and I really do love that about myself. I can just trust. I don't know if I would say it's trusting my gut. It's a knowledge. It's a know. It feels like experience, and I can only thank God for that, because I've been protected in a lot of ways, and I've been walking through life with a shield, and it's beautiful, and it's so great. But anyway, that is something that is really that I've learned about myself, is that not only can I trust myself, but I'm so strong, and I can trust that at the end of the day, I know what's right, and I know what I need. So I don't have to fall weak at the knees, and I don't have to give up everything. I can honestly be myself, and I know what that is. That's pretty great. But yeah, I love that about me. But that is, I don't know if that's necessarily a hard life lesson, but I feel like that was something that was scary that I didn't know about myself. And when I finally learned through multiple experiences, I was like, I am okay. I am more than okay. I have I do have strength, and I do have a lot of it, and I do make good choices. So I make good choices. And yeah, even if they're hard, I seem to be able to make them quite well. Even as a people pleaser, even as someone who's anxious at times, I do have that strength. So that's good, right? Hardest life lessons. I think like I'm the type of person, I don't want to say like I'm like, I know there's a word for people who like pain, but like I don't want to say I'm that, but I definitely like to like dive into trauma and dive into like things in the past because I want to like analyze and because I want to like understand. And I feel like one of the hard lessons I've had to learn is like some of that, you know, even though that's painful and hard, going back and walking through it, you know, I can't even do it all the way. That's how bad it is. But like I can't even do it all the way because I would basically black out in memory. I don't have a lot of knowledge on certain events, but I do know that because I'm so willing to face it, or at least I'm consciously willing to face it. Subconsciously I might be blocked or something, I don't know what's going on, but I know that there is a really big want for growth. And I know that like there were certain places that were a bit traumatic to me. One of those places being the entire country of the Dominican Republic. I had no interest in ever visiting that country ever again. And what do you know it, in 2023, I ended up back there. Spur of the moment crazy thing, I was back there and I just remember crying on the flight down. And I just remember being like, oh my gosh, I'm back here. This place was like not my favorite, and just like there's more to that, right? But like learning that lesson and just being like, I am here, that was very interesting, very whatever that word is. So but I'm glad I was able to do that 2 years ago. So but hard life lessons, this is my last one. I think that's gonna be, I've always known this one since I was young, is that, you know, we don't have forever with our loved ones, with our families, especially the older people get. And I think just last year, things hit me so hard in terms of families not necessarily forever. And I mean, I've always known this since I was a kid. Like, I've always thought about, like, the end. I always thought about, like, what am I going to do if my parents don't come home one day? Like, that's the type of kid I was. Like, what am I going to do? What's going to happen to me? And I would always think about, like, I was way ahead. I was, like, thinking about, like, life afterwards and all these things. And, like, after something crazy happened. So for me to be living in 2024 and 2025 and just to be, like, wanting to make some deep connections with family members I wasn't truly close to, wanting to spend time with my aunts and uncles and my grandma, who I like never made like a real relationship with, wanting to make those connections, asking questions, spending time. It just all makes it so fleeting. It feels so fleeting. It feels so like momentary, and I just want to do the most I can to like learn. And you know what? My grandma's gonna outlive us all. It's fine. But like what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I just want to know. I just want to know them. And all I can do is my best. Yeah. I think that that's all the hardest lessons I've had to learn. I'm very fortunate to be 27 and not have had any like major disruptions in the family line, in terms of like me and my family, but yeah, I'm very fortunate and I'm very blessed, and I can always say that. But that's everything. The devil, bye.